So in a previous video, we went through how to make use of the API model-driven generation export functionality to export APIs, samples, and schemas. In this video, I'm going to go through in a bit more detail how to specifically export schemas. Alright, so in order to export a schema, what you have to do is just create a schema file. Now, we're going to probably use the convention, we've got an API diagram, and underneath it there's a schema package which has diagrams, which are the individual schemas. So I can just go ahead and create a new diagram. I'll create it as a class diagram, UML Class diagram. So there's a diagram. Let's just rename this so it's a bit different from the other one. And all we need to do is to put classes from our canonical model onto this diagram. So all we need to do is, I'm going to go up to the common model. If I pick a customer, drop it on this diagram as a link. So it's just a link back to this class which exists under the customer domain within the common data model. So I'll hit OK. So this entity is now on the diagram. If I now look at my extensions, you'll notice that there is no ability to export. What I have to do in order to export is I do have to make the diagram a schema, stereotype as a schema diagram. Now that I've done that, there's one other thing is required in order to export the schema of this single class, and that's to link it to a diagram. So what I'm going to do is go back to the API diagram, and what I'm going to do is drop this element by finding it here in the project browser. Go back to my diagram, drop that also, and draw a link from that API item get through to this entity. I believe that's all I need to do. Now I should be able to export. If I export the schemas, let's see what happens. So it did produce a customer schema, so that's obviously the name of this entity, or the name of the type of this entity. And let's have a look at that file. So that'll be under schemas, and I think it's the customer schema. Okay, so you can see it's a customer and it's got a customer number. And basically you can go from there. You can drop other classes onto that diagram. So things that are related to the customer. Let's choose a contact that might be related. No. Is an access token related? No. Okay. But we could choose to model a relationship between the two of them. Let's get rid of that. Why can't I delete? Oh. We could choose to model a relationship between the two of them. I'll probably undo this in a moment. But you draw the relationship, and what you would do is you would name the supplier end of this relationship. So contact person. Let's call it contact. And put a multiplicity on that. I'll make it an optional thing. So that forms this relationship. If I now choose to export the schema, and let's reopen that file. And here we have the contact person defined under definitions, as opposed to the customer, which is the outermost entity in the schema. which is defined to have the customer number, and then a contact, which is a reference to the contact person, which is defined here under definitions. Okay, so that's basically all you would do to produce a schema that you would want an API to be able to reference.